Alrighty, everybody, welcome to Season 7 for the Nexus Gaming Series, Week 1. Tonight, I am joined by Ektar. Say hello to the people.
Hello to the people.
So we are glad to see everybody already here, seeing a whole bunch of people in chat. We've had a couple of games going earlier tonight, but this game is going to be all about Running with Turtles and ReGen Blue. Now, Ektar, are you familiar with either of these teams much?
I'm passing familiarity with ReGen Blue, and for Running with Turtles, the only name I'm familiar with is DK Unleashed.
Gotcha.
Who actually, he and I co-won a prior season of Heroes Draft.
Nice. Okay. Good deal. Well, obviously, you know, I'm familiar with the players of ReGen Blue, being that, you know, not to point out the obvious here, but I did just show my shirt on stream for everybody to make sure. Apparently, I have to switch captain hat. There we go. Yep. But big fan of the boys in blue, as they say. And quick, let's take a look at what we've got for maps tonight. So a slight adjustment to the maps. One of the rule changes with Season 7 is that there are 2 ban phases. Well, I guess 1 ban phase, but 2 bans anyways of maps. So the bans that we have here are going to be Volskaya and Braxis for ReGen Blue. Of course, Mongoose saying that he'll ban that Braxis out the entire season. And then for Running with Turtles, Dragonshire and BOE, and then the pick is going to be Cursed Hollow.
Glad to hear that ReGen has joined the ranks of 9 maps in 1 ban, all NGS season.
Exactly. So, gonna check in with our teams here. We got that. Okay, so they have not announced that they're ready yet, so that's fine. So we've got a Division B, which has, what, 12, I think, teams in it?
I think so.
Let's take a look here. There were a couple of other rules changes. Do you have those off the top of your head, or do you want me to flip over and look at that?
So probably the biggest one was what you mentioned about the extra map bans, and beyond that, the other biggest changes to the sub rules, wherein a single player can only sub 3 times on any one team, but for additional flexibility, people who are on NGS teams can actually sub for other NGS teams as long as you're not in the same division.
And that's both coasts. So, like, for example, since my team's in B East, I could not sub for a B West team.
Correct, but you could sub for an A team or a C team if you're a particularly low MMR player on your B team.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Well, and that's a pretty significant change too, allowing people on a roster to be able to swap around. And of course, there are some free agents out there, so keep an eye out for those free agents as subs. It looks like both of the teams are ready to go. I'm ready. Are you ready?
I am.
Excellent. Well, let's get this started up here. And we will hop over to the draft screen.
And which team was it that picked to go to Cursed Hollow?
That was Running with Turtles. So ReGen Blue is going to get the first pick out of this.
Cursed Hollow is one of the lesser run maps in NGS. It's never been unpopular per se, but it's no Infernal Shrines. Do you know if either team has any potential special strats cooked up for this map?
Not specifically. You know, there was a great highlight from last season, and I want to say it was against ReGen Blue, but I'm not positive of that, with a Ragnaros in the mid lane. Did you see that highlight?
I haven't, but that would be a spicy pick.
Oh, buddy, it's a glorious highlight. It's in a couple of the Nexus Edge videos, where Ragnaros pops Molten Core a few moments after throwing out a mid lane lava wave and just obliterates the enemy team. I don't expect to see it here today, but it was one of those great moments.
And Ragnaros could really serve the same role that he does often on Infernal Shrines, to just stall out those objective phases in your favor. For sure. And with the very long lanes here, it gives some very significant pressure in those lanes.
a lot of soak. As we see here for the bans, a lot of very consistent normal bans, right? The Anub'arak, Zeratul, and Kael'thas and Ana are kind of standard at this point for most levels of play, I think.
Yeah, I don't see Anub'arak or Ana in basically any game that I play, and Kael'thas and Zeratul are both pretty up there as well in the bans. And ETC coming out as a very kind of middle-of-the-road first pick. It doesn't give anything away picking up an ETC early.
And you know, ETC is a big... Mongoose is a big fan of the ETC, so that's a big statement coming out from Mongoose. I don't know if I pick ETC, I usually don't like to pick him right at the beginning. But I know some other teams do, and obviously Mongoose is comfortable enough to rip that right at the beginning.
Do you know if Mongoose favors stage dive on a map this size?
I mean, I don't know, but I don't know that I've ever seen a stage dive out of Mongoose.
That's fair.
So,
and the Dahaka and the Jaina coming up from Running with Turtles. Jaina is a very standard pick. She works in just about any team comp. And Dahaka gives you that nice global pressure. You can just have him off-soak during the objectives.
I'm kind of speechless. I was not expecting the Samuro to come out on this one. Is this a B-Med? Is B-Med on the team?
I'm pretty sure B-Med is on soak all the lanes, but... You know, off-roster sub-rules, maybe this is B-Med.
We gotta check out that smurfing rule and make sure it's nothing crazy going on there. As now the Abathur, no surprise there, as Abathur Samuro is just I don't want to play against it. Yeah.
Neither team deciding to pick up their healer in the first set of draft picks. But so far, we're not seeing any kind of healer choke really at all from either team. Other than the Ana, who's always banned.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of makes sense.
My team doesn't even actually plan to have Ana. If for some reason she gets through bans, we'll pivot immediately. But we just don't ever plan to have Ana because she's never draftable.
Right, for sure. Thank you, 10 Samurai Cats, for that bit thrown out there. We appreciate the cheers. Also, just to throw this out there here, guys, for any subs that want to come in, I have a neat little emote there. I'm going to post that in chat. You guys will see that in 30 seconds, or hear about it in 30 seconds, but just saying, you got to check out that dog.
I really enjoyed the Deckard Cain pick, and with what they already have drafted so far, this is a lot of slows and a lot of roots that they have, so it's a lot of ability for Jaina to just lock some heroes down and put down tons of damage. But Anduin is a really solid pickup to stop tons of damage.
Yeah, for sure. And so far as if they take that Salvation, you've got, what, a Dahaka and Johanna both have their ults and one other way to stop it. So, you know, if you're really paying attention, you might be able to rip that Salvation. Thrall is another potential out of that Sundering, maybe.
Thank you very much, JMCG Plays, for the raid of 16 people. Welcome to the Nexus Gaming Series stream.
Welcome, everybody. So tonight's the first night for this this season, and there's a lot of hype. I mean, we increased the teams from, I think, 85 to 96, I think is how that worked out, or 87 to 96, something like that. So about a 10% increase in overall team sponsorship, not sponsorship, but participation.
Yeah, which we actually found pretty surprising. We thought we were going to hold pretty steady, and then like the last 2 days before signups closed, we just got a whole bunch of extra teams signing up.
My game page is not loading fully. There we go. Oh, everybody's learning about the widescreen. Welcome to the wide world of Arrow's stream with the extra space. I know it doesn't work for everybody, and I apologize for those of you that are, you know, don't you guys even have computers? Like, come on, right? Isn't that how it's supposed to run this? Learning from Blizzard?
I mean, I don't know about computers, but I'm pretty sure everyone is supposed to have a phone.
Exactly. All right, so I'll go ahead and get started with running with turtles. We've got Silver Jackal on Jaina, T-Pole on the Deckard, DK Unleashed on Thrall, Alizar on Dahaka, and then Johanna going to be played by Kooks.
And over on the right-hand side, we have Mongoose playing ETC, Jason playing Anduin, Grendel playing the Gul'dan, Larson playing Raynor, and Fox playing the surprise Samuro pick.
The early Samuro pick, too.
Yeah, they were very confident in that pick.
All right, so getting things started, let's take a look at what we've got for talents here. So, Laws of Hope for Johanna instead of going for that Iron Skin upgrade. The Scroll Ceiling quest as well, Echo of the Elements. So a lot of the quest talents you would expect to see out of the Running with Turtles.
On the other hand, I find the Pursuit of Flame actually very interesting coming out from Grendel. That is not a talent I see picked up very often at all.
Yeah, for sure.
Really solid route coming out onto Kooks, a lot of damage put out onto him, and maybe wishing they had that shortened cooldown on her D-Shield at this point.
Yeah, for sure. So we've got Fox and Unleashed down in the bot lane here, getting that soak. Fox being a little bit passive because he's already pushed so much into it, and Raynor going top lane there. Larson working on that. So they'll get a little bit of an XP lead out of this, as it looks like they're going to lose some of those top minions.
Fox already rotating out of bot lane, making a beeline, looks like, for that Bruiser camp. They're going to try and take that nice and early. And they're going to rotate Mongoose down to the bottom lane just to make sure that they can pick up all the soak there.
And it looks like Jason coming over here to throw out a heal. Just waiting, trying to make sure that he gets that at an ideal time. And Jackal starting on the Siege Camp, which is what I would have expected a little bit earlier from ReGen, but I guess because of that tribute being in the top, they want to go ahead and start the Bruiser Camp first so that they can have that Siege Camp pushing in the middle of that fight.
Exactly. And then not a whole lot of damage going out on either side. Both sides in the mid, top, and bottom, all the lanes. Just trying to make sure that they're getting their stacks, getting their minion XP, not doing a whole lot of damage, but more importantly, not taking a lot of damage. Although Larson pushing him pretty hard in the top lane, DK Unleashed forced all the way back to his wall, but those Siege Giants are going to shift the favor of that lane in his, well, favor.
So we do have a little bit of a fight going between Grendel and Jason, and 3 from Running with Turtles here. I don't expect that to get a whole lot of value, but they do have a camp to provide them some aid there, as that bottom Siege Camp is going to get picked up by Samuro. And it looks like Fox is going to head down to help Mongoose, although here comes that first tribute.
And importantly, we see Dahaka is actually the one in the bottom lane, so he'll probably want to stay around to clear out those Giants before burrowing up, because left unchecked, they can do a lot of damage in the bottom lane. But Fox is actually deciding to stay here, not rotating up at all quite yet. Although we can see ReGen does have the more aggressive positioning around this tribute, seeing if they can get some damage out onto DK Unleashed. Not really getting too much, just a little bit of damage over time.
So some chat talking about Echo. Let me know if it's me, if it's Ekdar, if it's the game. I can turn down the game a little bit if that's potentially causing issue. But here they come. We do have everybody but Dahaka and Jaina is just now showing up here. So Mongoose causing some chaos in that backline, and Johanna is getting very low, getting shredded by Raynor. But Silver Jackal with 26 hit points just barely manages to catch that potion and get away from Fox.
DK Unleashed doing a really good job actually body blocking Fox, preventing him from getting to the squishier portion of the back line. But Running with Turtles just taking a little bit too much damage before their second tank gets up here. They're going to try and poke it out a little bit more, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to re-engage on this in an effective manner.
Yeah, and Jackal again up here in the top is going to go down thanks to that Samuro damage. And with Thrall out of play here for a while, this is a tough spot to be in.
It looks like they're going to continue to get the interrupts, and they got they got Thrall back. Big root comes out onto Dahaka, though. The burrow and the this Essence going to get him back up to pretty decent health, but they're pushing in and getting interrupts, but they're not really getting enough damage out onto ReGen to try and actually contest beyond just stopping the channel, and there they don't even get the stop on the channel. First tribute going over to the side of ReGen Blue.
And it was close. That blind coming out from Johanna was just a split second too late.
However, in the meantime, the Bruiser camp from Running with Turtles got the entire front wall in the mid lane, so that's got them just a very small XP lead that'll probably even itself out as the rest of the team from ReGen gets back to their lanes.
So up here in the top, Larson a little bit in danger there. Low on mana and getting caught by the Dahaka, getting a bunch of damage there, but able to knock him back away with his penetrating shot, I think that is.
Round.
Round? I was going to say round first. I was like, that sounds kind of silly.
Second tribute coming up on the side of Running with Turtles side of the map. We can see Deckard Cain trying to take a mercenary camp by himself. That's going to take about 1.5 years.
Yeah, he might be done by the time the third tribute comes up.
Yeah, maybe.
So just as a quick
Jaina
update,
getting caught out of position, taking a lot of damage, and she's going to go down before this objective even comes up.
that was a good catch.
Running with Turtles is either going to have to give this up entirely or spend a lot of time poking, and just based on where they're positioning, I think that they're just content to let this go to the side of ReGen Blue.
Yeah, that's the way it looks.
Yes,
maybe
Anubarak was banned, Diablo was not banned or picked.
Yep.
Question from chat.
Yep. Actually, I have the first 2 bands written down. I don't remember the third bands. I think Abathur and... Do you remember Blue's third band?
I'm sure I will, but it's not coming to me quite yet.
Yeah. So Samuro's going to go ahead and get started on their Siege Giant camp as Thrall finishes off theirs. And again, this next tribute now in the bot lane, so this favors a little bit potentially the ReGen Blue for the placement, but if that Siege Giant camp isn't cleared, it'll favor Running with Turtles, and level 10s are not too far away here.
Just based on the positioning, though, it looks like it's going to be close. Jimmy is going to have to make the call. Does he stop that siege camp, or does he just rotate down? He's not rotating yet. I think he's going to try and clear that camp out before going down. And look at me being wrong.
Well, and I think he's saying we're level 10, and at this point, let's... Oh, you know what? They've got Illusion Master, so Fox can actually clear that out and still make his way down. That's a great call, looking at that timing.
Alizar actually doing a really good job stopping the real Samuro from doing damage to that. It's only the clones damaging it, and that camp is still very much alive. But we've got a team fight in the bottom lane.
And the light bomb misses, but the fear going out catches the Dahaka. The mosh pit gets interrupted, and here comes a Ring of Frost. Down goes Ghoul-Dan, and now ReGen Blue is a little bit on the... trying to get out of this here on the back foot.
Huge CC chains coming out from both teams, and Running with Turtles, not only did they get their first objective channel, but that camp is still pushing in the top lane. It's going to start doing some pretty decent damage onto that fort. The camp itself falls, but it did enough damage to the wave ahead of time.
Yeah, for sure. So while we have a moment, for those of you interested, the Zul'jin Distillery Invitational just finished up with, I believe it was Winky Face taking that win. So keep an eye out.
GG's Winky Face.
Winky and Wood League are actually playing again on Thursday in a best of 3 here in NGS, as opposed to the best of 5 that they just had in XGDI.
So we did see every ultimate get used during that last team fight, but let's go over all of the ultimates. So Jaina picking up the Ring of Frost, Johanna picking up the Blessed Shield, Deckard Cain with the Stay a While, Thrall with the Sundering, and Isolation for Dahaka. Over on the side of ReGen Blue, ETC picked up Mosh Pit. We saw the Light Bomb already. We saw the Horrify, Rainer's Raiders doing what it does, and the Illusion Master.
And we've got a brawl here in the middle with the 2 Bruiser camps, 3v3 here, as the rest of the teams are trying to get Soak in the other lanes, the bot lane, top lane. Dahaka staying down below because, of course, he can brush stalk in, and the Danger Ping coming out, calling out the location, I imagine, of ReGen Blue coming in. And here's Thrall trying to channel, but the ring goes out onto only ETC. Almost caught Grendel on the Ghoul-Dan, but the Leap of Faith gets ETC out with 37 health. Holy cow.
That was so close to being worth it for the side of Running with Turtles, but a huge Horrify comes out, locks down Kooks, and takes him out. The counter engage with the Stay a While Listen, not quite in time to save the members of his team.
And down goes Johanna, so they don't have a frontline tank, but it's still 2 tributes here, so... And it doesn't matter. Dahaka gets obliterated thanks to that ETC Power Slide and Face Melt, knocking him back into the group here. And it looks like
Decker's Kane doing what he can to interrupt it, but he's only got the one. And that's Curse going over to the side of ReGen Blue.
So we've got Samuro getting some work done in mid lane, but he's already pretty low, and Thrall is going to be able to push him back. But Blue's looking to take out as much out of this top lane as they possibly can. And of course, that's their boss lane. They've got a ton of pressure potential coming out of that Samuro. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they would look to get that boss pretty quickly.
I think they're going to want to try and push out mid-fort before doing that. They don't want to spend the last 30 seconds of their curse just on the boss. It's kind of a little bit of wasted value. So they are going to push in on this mid-line lane, seeing that they have Jane in the top lane, seeing that they have Dahak in the bottom lane, knowing that they're safe to just push in, get as much damage as they can, as safely as they can. The Horrify whiffs out onto Johanna, but just barely getting out of there with the well.
Yeah, I think that was just really good timing on Johanna, because I think she popped her Iron Skin just as that Horrify was coming out, and probably because ETC had just done the Power Slide. And so it prevented her from getting knocked back, but it also prevented that fear.
And we see just as soon as the curse phase ending, ReGen Blue making a beeline for their boss. Fox is going to use his Illusion Master to make sure that he can get up here and join the rest of his team. Jason, surprisingly, being the one to actually anchor in this bush, but it looks like Running with Turtles, they know what's going on, but have also acknowledged that they can't actually try and contest, so they're going to contest by taking their own boss instead.
And they're not getting it as quickly.
They're not, and it looks like Fox is probably going to send an illusion down there to scout and see if they can do anything about it, but ReGen Blue didn't go as quickly as they could have straight to that other boss. If they had, I think they could have made a fight over it, but as it is, each team is just going to get one boss apiece.
And that favors Blue, but here they are in a bit of a dangerous spot in the middle of the team with that stay a while, but they're not going to get punished for it. Ultimately, I think Fox being in the back line, even if it was, you know, just an illusion at the time, made them think twice about really pushing in on that.
And this aggressive positioning from ReGen Blue actually puts them into a really good spot, for the simple fact that their boss is going onto a keep and Running with Turtles' boss is going onto a fort. So the more time that the teams just kind of spend jockeying for position, the better that actually puts ReGen Blue.
Yeah, and this gets the bulk of that wall, that keep wall, for ReGen Blue, and for Running with Turtles, they only got about half of that first fort in that bottom lane. So again, definitely in favor of Blue for that. But now we've got the aggressive camp call, and they don't have any specific advantage here. They're not level 16s.
No, they're just saying, we think that we can outfight you on this point. So Johanna gets in to see if she can say something about that, and Mongoose is going to get taken down due to his hubris.
That was a little bit aggressive. I think that they were looking for, you know, the potential of the Horrify from Grendel to make that work, but of course, Iron Skin. So there was, you know, they were watching for that. He did eventually use Horrify, but Mongoose was already dead.
Gotta watch that Carbot video. As soon as when Iron Skin is up, you can't do anything to her. Diablo tried.
Exactly.
Just due to the death timers, it looks like even up 16 for a brief moment, ReGen Blue has decided that they're not even going to try and contest. That's a pretty good call, because in the best case scenario, they fight over an objective and maybe win. But it's not like they're about to lose anything in particular for giving this objective up. Fox comes in just to see if he can poke the tiniest little bit of a commitment and immediately just blinks out.
So it looks like they're going to come down here into this bot lane, make sure that Running with Turtles can't get any additional pressure out of this lane, as Samuro's going to go ahead and push out that top lane, get the continuous pressure from the periodic catapults. And I was gonna say, they're not going after the siege camp, is he? But looks like that clone went away.
No, he's just checking the siege camp to see if Running with Turtles is doing the same as their team doing, and it turns out they are. Both teams are going to be taking their siege camp so they can have them pushing during the objective phase. Though once again, this benefits ReGen Blue just a little bit more based on the positioning of where the tribute is spawning.
Yep. So we do have, just taking a quick look at talents here. So Jaina's still at 9k out of the 15. Oh, no. Yeah. Okay, so Johanna's dead.
F in the chat for Johanna.
Now maybe, okay, I was going to say maybe the Jaina even. So, as I was about to say, she's got about 9k damage. Now she's up to 11.5. So, getting closer to that all-important ice block. We did see Deckard finishing his quest, so that obviously drops the armor of the enemy team. Dahaka's finished quest. The Subdue talent for Johanna not yet picked up, or not yet completed. But with this team, that's not a big surprise, unless by some happenstance she can get a full set of Samuro clones, because the rest of them are just too far away from the action to make that really work.
I would love to comment on Fox's build, but I never see Samuro. Speaking of trying to take Silver Jackal out in the bottom lane, but Dahaka had a thing or two to say about that, and Fox gets taken down.
I didn't see it. I was too busy looking at talents, and you were talking about talents, so I started to look at his build, didn't even see that he was in the middle of the team.
I had assumed that he was going to blink out.
Yeah.
I have to imagine that Dahaka got him in a tongue right before he was about to, because Fox has been really good about repositioning during team fights.
So we got bosses coming up here. We have a tribute coming up, which leads to a curse. This is actually not a very good place if you're ReGen Blue, and you have no Fox of it, or yeah, Fox.
Grendel gets caught out and dragged. That is going to be a dead Dahaka, no matter what Thrall tries to do about it.
And by Dahaka, you mean Gul'dan.
I definitely do. They look nothing alike.
So
but that is going to be a very easy curse.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're thinking about going onto this boss. They are going out onto this boss.
Yeah, this
not
will
my
give them a
favorite
lot of
part of
pressure.
the world, but I like it only because it's the opponent side of the map boss.
Right.
It takes more than anything. It takes it away from the opponents and lets them go onto the building because they don't have a wave with them. Not that you really need it during the curse, but if you're going to take a boss during a curse, at least take your opponent's boss.
Yep. And they're going to start looking at the aggressive damage onto the keep because, of course, well, I thought they were. But since they've got a couple of ReGen Blue here defending this, I guess they'll go ahead and back away and just finish off the fort and then come into it. So 30 seconds left on the curse. And right now, if you're ReGen Blue, this is about as good as you could hope for this to go. They might get damage or, you know, finish off this fort in the middle. There is a healthy boss, so with everybody coming up here and not all of the running with turtles here, I don't think they lose this keep, and I think this is actually a good potential defensible position for them.
It's not a guaranteed defense by any means, but it's a 5-man versus, well, at the moment 4 because Fox is still out in the other lanes, so this is still a pretty precarious spot. Yeah. If Fox were here, I think this would be a pretty solid defense, but as it is, it looks like this keep is going to go down without a lot of trouble coming out for running with turtles.
And Fox is in this back spot here, but oh my goodness.
A lot of damage coming out onto Gul'dan again.
Yeah. And Fox is coming in. I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything, though. He's kind of isolated as the boss is now on the core. Doesn't actually get any core damage. There's still plenty of shields, and the Illusion Master does get Fox out of danger there.
As much as I love to talk about how Gul'dan, or not Gul'dan, Samuro is a poorly designed hero and shouldn't be in the game, he is really cool to watch when played particularly well, and Fox is definitely doing that.
I'm not sure how he just managed to get out of that. He walked right past 3 of them, and I think he, like, I don't think he had his Illusion Master, whatever the trait is, available.
He did not, but what he did have is his Wind Walk, which stops him from being revealed during the first, I think, second of using it. So even though he did take some damage there, it was during that window and didn't get revealed from it. But now we see ReGen Blue aggressively taking their opponent's boss. They did have the first to level 20, but now both teams have 20. And running with turtles is, in fact, running towards the boss.
And that's going to push ReGen Blue away here. I do want to point out that ETC picked up the tour bus instead of the death metal. And there goes the Ring of Frost. managed to hit 3. Oh, this is good night. Larson goes down. Mongoose is about to go down. The Stay While and Listen slows down Fox. Larson, I said he went down. I think it was Jason actually. But Larson trying to get away from the Jaina, has 300 health. Will be able to make it away. So now Running with Turtles going to be able to walk over here and take their boss quite comfortably.
I'm a little bit surprised that they're not just trying to run at their opponent's keep. Not keep, their core. I guess they're just not confident they'd be able to do enough damage before people start rezzing. So this is definitely the safe play. I just don't know if it's the right play.
Yeah, I mean, that's a long way for them to go because they'd have to go through the top or at least go by the keep after they break down a wall.
Yeah.
And you're right. I mean, they would just be getting there now-ish because it's such a big map. And they don't have the greatest, like, consistent siege damage for a tower, right? They don't have the Samuro Rainer that's on the other side. So I think that probably was the right call.
You've convinced me. That was the right play.
And this gets them the bot lane opened up now. Again, I don't think they get a keep out of it, but I didn't think they would get a keep out of the other one, so who knows?
I will say, John Knight in chat agrees with me that core was the call.
Yeah, he says Jaina and Thrall kill the core. I don't know. I feel
Jaina
like that
definitely
would've been a long
does.
time. Yeah.
Thrall, I think, just does okay.
So we got Fox again sharking around the back line here, trying to get in, trying to get some kind of pincher move on this team.
This boss is going down pretty quick. It's not going to do a whole ton of damage onto this core. And that's not a lot of value considering it's a late game boss that they got.
Yeah, it's going to get half of that keep. The top lane pressure is pushed out. Fox is distracting them here, so...
I think what it did more than anything else is just buy them a little bit of map positioning. They have the bottom lane fully pushed out. Top lane has catapults that are going to keep pushing it out. So they're very safe, and they can see a lot of what's going on the map right now, but they're not in a stronger position than that. It's a very slightly stronger position.
So this fight, the curse wouldn't necessarily isn't going to be a problem, but this fight could end the game if anybody dies here.
The huge blitz coming up from DK Unleashed going out onto Grendel, saves himself just for a moment, but then goes down.
And Running with Turtles gets split up a bit there, but now, again, they've got 5 versus 4 in this. Fox manages to blink away with his Illusion Master, and realizing that, again, as I mentioned, this is not curse, this is just an extra tribute, they back out there. But now they've got catapults on core.
They have catapults on core, and they're up a player. It looks like they want to try and go for boss, but they did not all go to boss together. Oh my gosh.
Oh, and he's got
huge mosh pit, follow-up stun from the Lightwell.
But it's still just 3 versus 4 now that Dahaka shows up. Oh,
huge bloodbath. I thought that was going to go way worse for Running with Turtles, and I'm sure Mongoose thought so as well, but I don't think he's getting out of this.
To start. Yeah, this looks like it's game.
What do you think?
Silver?
4 heroes down? Is that enough?
No.
Fox is doing what he can. Shifting positions yet again. It's 3 versus 1 at this point. I think that they're just going to try and get the tribute, which is, again, a very safe play.
They don't have any damage now with the Jaina dead.
Gul'dan's back up again. So they'll get this curse, but it's just going to buy time. It's going to push the lanes out in their favor, but it's not going to get them closer to winning.
So we'll see how this goes now. They do have the top lane bosses available now for whichever team happens to get enough of an advantage and have the damage to do so. And they're coming in here trying to catch up to Grendel, looking to get this wall down in the mid lane, get as much pressure as they can relatively safely with the limited amount of damage that they have, because, you know, that Deckard Bane, just because it's a skin doesn't mean he's going to do any damage. But now ReGen Blue coming in on him. And the big fear is going to send Dahaka back into the group. Does get rooted. Light Bomb's coming out with the boop coming from Raynor. But that Essence keeping him at full.
Yeah, unfortunately only catching the tanks in that Horrify and not able to secure any kills.
Do you want to shout out again to 10 Samurai Cats for the bits in chat? Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Little bit of shield damage coming out onto the core. The lanes are getting pushed out, but they're not going to lose another keep for the side of ReGen. So really, at this point, a tribute is not going to be what wins for either team. It's going to be a team fight. Some people are going to have to die, and some other people are going to have to live for this game to actually end.
And it's got to be the right people, because it can't be the Johanna, Decker, Dahaka, I think, unless they've got already significant catapult pressure.
It looks like Running with Turtles is positioning so that they can take their boss in 15 seconds, and it looks like ReGen might just be positioning to try and take theirs.
And that could be an interesting play if both of these teams decide to go for bosses and just push in their respective lanes, because Blue has the kind of disadvantage of a full keep there. But Bruiser Camp getting picked up, so there's going to be pressure in that mid lane, so I don't know. Maybe if they have enough time, maybe they actually go try to get to that boss that Running with Turtles is on. This one's going down a lot faster than the last one, I think.
Yeah, but at the same time, ReGen Blue's running down a lot faster, but I still don't think they're actually going to do it. I think they have acknowledged that that's where they are, and that's where they're going to be, and they're just going to let that happen. Except Fox gets in position with the clones standing on the point. A lot of damage coming out onto Anduin. And Fox does get off the point. That is boss going over in favor of Running with Turtles, but ReGen's boss is already on keep, and this one just got channeled.
Yeah, and losing your healer there is that's not good. That's a problem.
It's bad, but I don't think, once again, that Running with Turtles can actually win off of this boss. I think that the advantage is just a little bit too in favor of ReGen to try and push down any more than just this keep. And maybe not even that. With only Alazar and T-Pool being on the side of the map, Fox is sharking around to see if he can get something done, giving ReGen free time to clear this boss. It will, again, still get keep, but that's trading a keep for a keep.
That's not too bad, considering you lost your hand to win. And it looks like they're going to let the boss finish off itself on the core here, and they're going to try to keep their mid keep alive.
Both teams just going to take a little bit of core hit points, but not too much.
So yeah, that's okay. I mean, that was far more favorable for Blue than I expected. So 27 minutes into this game, we've got another tribute that's not going to lead to a curse yet. There's only one camp available on the map, which is the Siege camp for Running with Turtles on their side. And they're chasing down the illusion. And Fox popping into that illusion, interestingly enough. But there's the Mosh coming out. T'Pol is going to go to the graveyard. The isolation missing from Dahaka. And there goes a light bomb missing the Dahaka. Fox is in that back line and then blinks away to his illusion, and he's right back on the tribute.
Just a ton of CC coming out for the side of ReGen onto Running with Turtles. That's a second kill. And ReGen Blue, they're being much more aggressive on what they're going to try and get with that. I still don't think that they can get core. However, that's a third kill on a mostly pushed out lane. Johanna, she has the extra bounces on Blessed Shield, maybe wishing she had picked up Indestructible there, because ReGen Blue is now looking at that core, and they are hungry.
And with a Rainer and Samuro, as long as they don't find some way to get themselves killed to this Thrall Jaina combo,
and without ults, that's going to be hard for them to find.
There's the Ice Blink from Jaina into the team, trying to get some damage in on Grendel, but ultimately Grendel and the rest of the team will turn around and finish her off. And
that's a lot of damage coming out onto all of the primary damage healers from the side of Running with Turtles, but it looks like it's close, but I'm pretty sure, yep, there it is. First game going over in favor of ReGen Blue. Very close game.
And that core finishing off Grendel, when he got knocked or walked over, I think he got knocked into the range of the keep. I thought he was going to die there, but of course there were minions available to help him out. So a remarkably low scoring game, 13-11. Yeah,
both teams were playing very passively. They really took the adage of don't fight down people pretty seriously for the most part.
Yeah.
Except that one mosh pit, but we're not going to talk about that until the post-game interview.
And that was a nearly 30-minute game, or right at 30 minutes. So yeah, not a whole lot of kills. So you were talking earlier about Fox's talents. What did you want to talk about with those?
I was mostly making a comment that I don't know Samuro's talents, and okay. I would like to talk about them, but I have no frame of reference for talking about them.
Oh, you don't? It doesn't show up for you there? Gotcha.
No, it totally shows up. I just don't know what his usual talents are.
Understood. Gotcha. Other
than that, Shikuchi is the normal 13. That's the one talent I'm sure of.
Yep. Which is probably how he evaded them in that upper boss play. So, good job to these teams. Let's go ahead and go back to our visual here. Where's that? There we go. Ah, welcome back, Ektar. Hello.
I missed you.
Now I'm waving. John Knight says Samuro's talents were correct. And thank you, Repsychic, my buddy out there with the Twitch Prime. Make sure you check out your new Twitch emote. It's the best ever. And Slexia with the 69 bits. Welcome, Slexia. Happy to see you in chat tonight. We got a big crowd here, don't we? How many people are here tonight?
I actually can't tell because mobile is not awesome yet.
There are 45 people in chat tonight. That is a hopping good time on NGS Season 7 Day 1.
And suddenly I'm nervous because that's a lot of people.
Sorry, there's only 4.5 people. That's what I meant to say.
Is Weenus a person and a half? Is that how that works?
I think that's how that works, yeah. Is Weenus out there in chat? I haven't seen
He's
him
probably lurking.
There are a lot of big names out there that we see. So we got Murda, we got Munkus is in there from is it Beast Coast? Is that the new team?
That is a team. I don't know who's on it, but that is definitely a team.
So yeah, so I think he's the captain of Beast Coast, if I remember the right name. I already said Murda. John Knight.
DB Smiley was here, dropping his admittedly really prospective MMR stats.
We got Cat Peach out there. Is Sam a ban for next game? Coming from Osteel. Now Osteel, part of ReGen Blue. I'm assuming, I guess a sub, maybe, since
that will depend primarily, I have to imagine, on the map and just how much respect Mongoose and crew have.
For sure. Scoreboard, did I not? Oh, no, I updated it, didn't I? Let me hit update, because maybe that didn't... Okay.
Looks updated.
Well, it'll show up in a moment, Murda. So, let's see. So, what do we have? So, the map bans, again, were Dragonshire and Battlefield of Eternity, Braxis Holdout, and Volskaya Foundry. We just played on Cursed. So, if you are running with Turtles and you want to come back with a win, keeping in mind that Cursed Hollow was your map, where do you think you go?
I would go to Sky Temple.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I think that is, of the maps remaining in the pool, the one that is most similar. And I think it gives ReGen Blue the fewest advantages. It admittedly was a bit of a weird comp with the Samuro, who did, in fact, carry the rest of his team on his back. But if you just ban out the Samuro, you don't have another hero that can do the same types of always taking camps macro play and still be as effective as a Samuro. And other than that, I think for the most part, outside of a few weird fights that happened here and there, running with Turtles was taking better team fights in a lot of cases. And
yeah, for sure.
Sky Temple gives you ample opportunities to take team fights, and I would say one of the things that it seemed like running with Turtles was kind of weak on was capitalization on winning team fights. Sky Temple does that for you.
True. Yeah, allowing you to have an objective that clears out those towers. The boss control is important. I know that, Mongoose, again, likes that ETC, and I like ETC for that boss control as well, just for the mic check or the, I can't remember the other one that gives you the second boop away, but giving you the ability to knock people away. And then of course, you know, you can look at things like the false dad, or I guess right wing is not as often picked, but certainly can help.
Also, we could once again see DK unleashed on the Thrall with the Sundering to knock everyone off.
Absolutely. Monk is pointing out Sky Temple, the hardest map in the game to come back on. So, you know, I feel like if I remember correctly, so ReGen Blue started off that match, or map rather, you know, fairly aggressively. They got the first tribute. They had the first fort.
They had the first 2 tributes even. And yeah, they came out very aggressively winning team fights in the early game.
Right. And if you can get some solid pressure in Sky Temple early, that gives you the potential for snowball. You know, that being said, I see so many people talking about how, you know, Sky Temple is like, it's hard to come back from, it's hard to do this, it's hard to do that. And yet the games that I see that are won oftentimes are not necessarily the ones where you're like, oh, look, they eliminated all those forts, they eliminated a keep, and now they're going to go, you know, shots onto the core, da da da. It's usually you opened up the boss lane, you won a team fight, you get the boss, you go win the game. So you don't have to clear out those upper lanes at all if you're playing the map correctly and set your team up for that. But it looks like we're going to Tomb of the Spider Queen, which is not.
So forget the last 45 seconds of discussion that we just had about the intricacies of Sky Temple, because even though it's located right below, Tomb is nothing like Sky Temple.
Exactly. So let's see, Tomb of the Spider Queen. So who did we have picking this, I wonder? Nobody told me, they just opened it up. So let's see, first draft team is going to be ReGen Blue. So looks like that is another one picked by Running with Turtles.
I really like Tomb of the Spider Queen as a map. It's just very fast-paced. There's always things happening. Unlike with a lot of the other maps that you have, where you have obvious objective phases and laning phases, Tomb of the Spider Queen is always a little bit of both. And so it just gives this map a pretty unique tempo compared to the other maps.
You know, we were talking about the potential for kind of a snowball effect out of Sky Temple. This is kind of the snowball map, other than, I guess, maybe Braxis. You know,
or Alterac.
Well, fair, yeah. I guess we have a few of them, don't we? So,
yes, we do.
You know, so you get a couple of kills, and now you have no gems out there, and it's a bad day. So the teams are ready. I'm going to go ahead and go into the Patreon commercial, because we like when people participate in the Patreon, and we'll get the match started from there. We're not in draft. I guess I shouldn't go to draft page yet. Who's the host on this thing? Silverjack Liz. Oh, there we go. They pushed the button. They didn't tell me.
Inconsiderate players.
Right? So I do want to send out a special shout out tonight. I was going to tell you about this and I forgot. To a good friend of ours, Jason's nephew, Nicholas. If you're out there watching, Nicholas, if it's not past your bedtime, we appreciate you watching Heroes of the Storm and watching your uncle get that first win over this other team.
And when are you going to get on your own team?
Exactly, right? 8 years old, you should be carrying this team for sure. Like, there's no
8 years old, you've got that incredible reaction time. 8 years old, you've got no responsibilities. You could just sit there and stare at a screen for hours. There's a reason that, like, 10-year-olds run StarCraft.
Absolutely. We want to see some pro-level play out of you there, Nicholas. So, getting into this draft, so we've got the Anubarak, Kael'thas, Ana. Are we going to see another Zeratul ban here? I think so.
I wouldn't be surprised. He's probably much better on this map than Cursed Hollow, just because the distance between lanes is so much shorter.
Yeah, for sure. And given how much of a threat the Samuro was in the backline that game, Zeratul can be, you know, just as, if not more deadly.
Especially after level 16. But we won't have to worry about Zeratul's level 16 talents because he's banned out. Exact same bans from game number 1.
So far. All right, so we see the ETC picked up right out of the gate, so I'm just going to go ahead and go AFK because they're going to pick this exact same draft that they did in game 1, right? Isn't that how this works?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's exactly how it works. I don't remember exactly who got picked up when, but it's going to happen exactly the same way.
Let's see, so I think this was Jaina and... I don't remember who else was picked first.
Was it that? Because I feel like it was that.
It was because Raynor was on ReGen Blue.
Okay.
So, oh, it was, you know what? It was Jaina Dahaka in that first 2 picks. So, Raynor and Jaina coming out. Good pairing there, giving the ace in the hole value over to Raynor, thanks to that Jaina. Hopefully, what I'd like to see out of Jaina this game is getting that quest completed a little bit earlier, because I think that the value out of that ice block cannot be understated, especially in that game. Maybe if that ice block was available, you know, 3, 4, 5 levels earlier, then you know, those fights go a little bit more in favor of running with turtles.
That's true. Let's see if Fox picks up another hero that can harry the backline as much as Samura did in the previous game. An interesting pick coming out from Larson. I really like Sylvanas in general, but especially on this map.
For sure. So we're seeing the Gul'dan ban. So Grendel's not going to be playing that Gul'dan.
A little bit of a respect ban, but not on the hero you would have expected.
Yeah. So who do you think is the harass potential out of the backline? So Zeratul's banned. I mean, I don't expect them to play a Samuro.
I wouldn't either. I don't know if they're going to try for a similar team comp. Admittedly, it's shaping up like it could be similar, but I think the last 2 picks is going to have it deviate a little bit.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know that they play it, and I don't know that it would make sense, but... Well, no, I'm not even going to say that. I don't want to sound like an idiot, and that's exactly where that would go. Stukov Imperius...
So I would expect then Kooks to pick up another frontliner because Imperius, he can impose a lot of presence, but he's not the solo main tank that you typically want.
Right, right. And Kook's last game was playing Johanna, so that would make sense. So let's see. So here we go. We're gonna see the last 2 picks coming out of ReGen Blue.
Ooh.
Oh man, I would never have called this.
I don't know. Fat Illidan is actually really interesting in the meta right now.
Let me clarify. When I say I would have never called it, I don't mean that it doesn't make sense. I like it. I just wouldn't have called it. I don't... Chen is really strong. He has a lot of value. The Diablo is gonna probably help to negate him a little bit anyways. I just still don't think of Chen being an actual hero.
I don't know that I actually really like the Chen pick here. With the penetrating round, the lurking arm, whatever Imperius' charge is called, and then Diablo's shadow charge and overpower, that's a lot of ways to interrupt the drinking.
Yeah, we'll see how this turns out. I don't know. It looks like a very heavy dive, and you know, to a certain degree, maybe we see kind of an altered version of the washing machine. Maybe? I don't know. I don't know if that would be effective.
Putting him in the Warden's cage?
Yeah, Warden's cage with a barrel.
But I don't know that. No. You go Warden's cage and Black Arrow. That's the combo. Chen just puts himself in there to do damage.
Yeah, and Storm, Earth, and Fire would do a lot of damage. ETC gets the Mosh value. You get the light. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, you put Maiev in a Warden's cage with a light bomb? That's spicy.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're gonna see.
Now, I will say this. Logical Decision tried that on us, or something similar to it yesterday. It did not work out well for them. So we'll see how this goes for ReGen Blue. So why don't you start with ReGen Blue this time?
Speaking of Regen Blue, going from bottom to top, we have Sylvanas being played by Larson, Chen by Grendel, Maiev being played by Fox, Anduin by Jason, and ETC once again by Mongoose.
Alrighty, and for running with turtles, we've got T-Pole on Stukov, Kooks on Diablo, Silver Jackal on Jaina again, Alizar on Imperius, and DK Unleashed on Raynor.
Looking at the level 1 talents, Maiev actually going into Nisha's Memento instead of the stacking quest for Umbral Bind, which is what I usually see on her on level 1.
I just have to call this out, so Monkus calls out the true combo is Maiev plus Leap of Faith. Diving in with that Shadow whatever the heck, and then Leap of Faithing back. I could see it.
I think the real combo is actually Diva Bomb plus Leap of Faith.
There you go. So
Kook's almost avoiding that pull, but Maiev using the Shadow to get her out of there.
Yeah.
And looks like we're just going to have a nice and standard 4-person mid-bot rotation from both teams, or mid-top rotation from both teams. And then the Bruisers just sitting in the bottom lane existing for a long time.
Yeah, and I don't know who wins that between Chen and Imperius, or if it's just a pretty much, you know, stalemate, especially when they get to 4 and Imperius can heal a bit. So
early catch coming out onto Kooks, he takes quite a bit of damage. Shadow charges out of there, but Maiev comes in with the blink to get him out.
And that is going to be first blood.
I like Fox. He takes the high skill cap, high execution, but high impact heroes. I would love to see a game 3 and see who else he plays.
Fair enough. And Vengeful Spirit, I think, is what that ability is called.
You are completely correct.
All right. I am ready for Nexus Edge questions.
Coming in from chat, apparently Chen wins in the bottom lane.
Fair enough. Good to know. If you're a good Chen, not a bad Chen, I would probably use it. And again, Kook's getting caught, pulled back, rooted by the Anduin, what is that? Not Divine Star, it's the other one. Something with a C, I think. I could just select, you know what, let's select Anduin. What's his ability called? It is called Chastise.
Ah, I knew it was a C. I just couldn't remember what it was.
Chen is getting just beat to hell down here.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that Grendel wins this.
So Chen might, but Grendel might not.
That's a good point.
Not yet. Although now, with the tap, going in there, but gets caught by the Celestial Charge. And do they get the counter kill?
That is 2 kills. That is a lot of gems being dropped on the side of running with turtles, but luckily Fox is there to pick up the ones for regen, so that puts them quite a bit ahead in the race to 50 gems.
Yeah, that was about 15 that running with turtles just lost there, and Regen Blue taking the time, getting 33 gems turned in here, well on their way to a first turn-in, and they do now have enough to get the first Web Weavers.
And running with turtles is still 28 gems off, so that was a really solid rotation down to the bottom lane that they got early on.
Are you doing math at 11 o'clock at night? It's probably not as late for you. Never mind.
I'm doing math at 9 o'clock at night, which is...
Oh,
it still goes against the old adage of never do math on stream. So, playing with fire a little bit.
That's true. And Power Slide in onto Diablo. The root Chastise coming out very low, is going to get taken out by Larson.
You know, I feel like I've seen this combo once or twice before coming out onto Diablo, and it's been equally effective all 3 times.
And Diablo sitting at 31 souls is not going to get a lot of souls. Spending all that time in the graveyard is going to need to find a way to not get caught by that ETC Power Slide follow-up with the Chastise.
There's just not a lot of souls in the Hall of Storms.
and let's just, you know, also point out, Sylvanas has percent damage on that level 1. So if Sylvanas is nearby, that Diablo is getting melted quickly.
Sylvanas actually using her trait to shut down the front wall so that they can start putting damage right onto the fort. And it's starting to fall pretty quick, although it is a 4v4 fight, and the Web Weaver top lane is only contributing so much to damage, but it's still up in the air whether or not this fort is actually going to go down here, but I think it probably will.
Yeah, there we go. So ReGen Blue does get the periodic catapults. They still have the Web Weaver, so with this 4v4 here in the top lane, they're getting a little bit more just poke damage. And now they're going to pull back. They've got 24 gems, 47 now for running with turtles. So they're very close to having enough for a turn in. Certainly by the time the Web Weaver's up, they can, you know, get those turned in. Well, if they get in place anyways, which they're not doing right now. They're instead both teams looking at their bruiser camps.
Question from chat: what is your favorite Lord of the Rings or Star Wars movie? That would have to be the Star Wars Christmas special. As if there's another answer.
Star Wars? I haven't seen the Star Wars Christmas special. I am apparently not a true Star Wars fan.
I would say you're missing out, but that's a lie and everyone knows it.
That is true. So we do have bruisers coming in the middle here. We've got, again, a 4v4 with the, well, I guess the actual bruisers in the bot lane there. Diablo charging ETC in, but he power slides right back. There goes that Chastise back onto Diablo, but he's got a few more souls this time.
Looks like 63 is the magic number to actually keep Diablo alive through exactly one team combo.
And now Kook's coming in here, trying to get some more poke. We see Progrock finished already, level 9. All of those regen globes.
And although running with turtles, they have a turn-in. They're prioritizing trying to keep this fort alive. They're not going to get it.
Oh, the power slide on Jaina.
Huge slide onto Silver Jackal, but not quite enough damage. Fox positioned really aggressively. DK trying to punish him, just not quite able to do it. But this does buy them a lot of time for them to get just a couple more gems so they can get their second consecutive turn-in.
ReGen Blue is looking really strong here. They've got 10 coming up pretty soon. Chen turning in his 21 gems there in the bottom. That's going to get them pretty close to a turn-in. And with 10s being now available, they're going to get this boss started.
This is a really strong play coming out from the side of ReGen Blue, and running with turtles have shown a little bit of reluctance to try and fight down a disadvantage. So even though there's a boss play happening right now, and I feel like they have to know it, just because they haven't seen anyone on the map for this long, they're going to do, again, the safe play, which is get the counter turn-in. Which they might not even do because they're in the top lane.
And
okay, Jackal does get it just barely in time, but Fox is on the hunt.
Oh, that was a good good penetrating round from Raynor, because I think Jaina dies there if Fox gets that Vengeful Spirit out.
Do we... I was wondering if we were going to see the full combo come out onto Kooks again, but we do not.
So they do get the Web Weavers, as you mentioned.
They do, but I don't think they're going to get anything out of it. I would be surprised if they even get a front wall in any lane.
Yeah,
just because...
Go ahead.
Yeah, running with turtles, they had to defend that boss, so they can't push out with these buildings, and Web Weavers don't target heroes, so the side of ReGen Blue just gets the world's freest clear on Web Weavers.
And there's the Mosh onto the Diablo only, but Stukov pushing him away. The root onto Diablo. This could be another kill onto Diablo. There it is.
I gotta say, MVP of this game so far is just Chastise. Not even any full hero, just Chastise is always locking Diablo down and getting him.
And Chastise is a fairly slow-moving root, so, you know, it combos well when you can get it with something else, but it's really about the same speed as Malthael's Shroud, I think it is?
Shroud of something? Wave? No, that's Sylvanas.
That's Sylvanas, yeah.
So I was incorrect. Looks like they are going to get the bottom fort here, but Mongoose is standing there. He is the readiest to turn in I've ever seen.
And they'll get a lot of pressure out of this because their top lane's already pushed in. The mid lane is already pushed at least up to that fort. And nobody cares about bot lane. Although Raynor getting that siege camp will help them to put some counter pressure against the Web Weaver in that bot lane, because this is going top lane. They want this keep.
I like what ReGen is doing right now. They're not showing on the map. The only person that showed recently is Mongoose and Grendel. The rest of the team, they're now showing in top lane, just barely Fox is being shown. Then they know that the team is coming, but they didn't know it for sure until they were there.
And here comes Celestial Charge, followed up by the Ring. Manages to get a couple there, but the Leap of Faith pulls out Larson. But it's going to be ETC going down first in this bloodbath.
That was an incredible team combo, but the counter kill coming out onto Imperius. Kooks got Fox in his grasp. Grendel goes down. T-Pole looks like he might just barely walk away. Sylvanas gets away with the Haunting Wave, and Jason, He's running for his life. Thankfully, he just picked up 13, so he should have that extra speed boost whenever he deals damage to enemy heroes. Never mind, he hasn't picked the talent yet. But when he does, all of his 13s give him extra speed, so...
So now they're going to try to get whatever value they can here out of this bot lane.
I would expect just the towers, maybe not even that.
Yeah, they're back.
Yeah, they're being very careful.
As they should be, right? They lost 2 of their players, or 3 of their players, actually. So we never actually went over the heroics. While we have a moment while these teams get their bruiser camps and push out lanes, Mosh Pit coming in with the Light Bomb, the Warden's Cage, Storm Earth and Fire, and the Wailing Arrow. And then for Running with Turtles, we've got the Ring of Frost, the Massive Shove, Rainer's Raider, Apocalypse, and there goes the ETC Mosh Pit. It gets interrupted, but Imperius just takes it out.
Angelic Armaments, CC just a little bit too long to pop that ultimate. Yep. Although the Running with Turtles do get their Web Weaver turn in, and they get this camp before ReGen Blue is able to respond. But once again, they have a very significant hero dead right at the start of the Web Weaver phase, so this middle Web Weaver gets cleared for free. Top is going to get cleared probably very easily as well. Bottom has a long way to go before it can actually deal any damage, so... I think this is... As weird as it is to say, I think that this turn-in is better for ReGen Blue than it is for Running with Turtles.
Yeah, and much like with the boss earlier, this gives Running with Turtles the clear to make sure that they don't lose more, thanks to the death that they had on the Imperius. But you're not getting any real significant pressure out of it. Obviously, the last one they did get that bottom fort, but again, bot lane is not super valuable on this map.
And now we're at the most potential awkward part of Tomb of the Spider Queen, where neither team is even close to a turn-in. So it's just kind of jockeying around position on the map, but you're not trying to gain anything besides killing enemy heroes. Speaking of, a lot of CC coming out onto Kooks, but does not get the pull.
Ring misses.
Brute coming out, missing everyone. Warden's Cage missing everyone except Alizar, who gets pooped back in. The Storm Earth and Fire comes out, but doesn't have that leap up anymore to try and get on anyone from Running with Turtles. And Alizar is in full-out retreat, but he's not actually going to make it. So once again, Imperius goes down for no value gained. And that just gives ReGen Blue the opportunity to take this boss, and they'll be up 16 and a hero, so I'd be very surprised if Running with Turtles tried to contest.
This, you know, I was going to point it out right before they started that fight. This was the exact same place that ReGen Blue took a fight last game and lost a couple people, ultimately letting Running with Turtles kind of catch up at that point. And now, this time, they were able to get the kill, get the boss, because it's a very short distance to get there, and get some more pressure. I don't know that I understand why Chen just Hearth, though. I guess to clear the bot lane?
Yeah, it's got a catapult. It's going to have another catapult and some siege giants. But the much more interesting lane is the top lane on the left-hand side, where we have 4 members from ReGen Blue. Big charge coming out, but, ooh.
Oh,
you can't get hit by the boss.
Oh, no. So Light Bomb going out gets the Rainer.
Punishment for that.
Ring of Frost barely catches on to the Maiev, keeping her locked down, so no...
But no follow-up.
Yeah, no additional kills yet.
Arrow, I didn't know you had so many movie buffs in your chat.
You know what? Welcome, everybody. I love the chat talking about the Star Wars and Dancing with Wolves, etc., etc. I have to say
it's not good feathers in there.
Yeah. So boss is going to go ahead and clear itself on the core. So they do have mid wall down as well. So pressure the structure damage going from top to bottom.
There's a lot of pressure in the mid and the top lanes. I would like to see Team ReGen actually try to rotate down to this bottom fort and do some damage, because they have the Sylve trait. That should be up again. And they know the enemy team has to be clearing out top, or they're going to start getting catapults building up. But they're going actually for a much more aggressive play. They're looking for DK Unleashed, and I think they're going to find someone.
There's the Wailing Arrow.
They're going to find Imperius. They always find Imperious, but if you get him, you get him.
We do see Chen getting shoved away. So just the one kill, it looks like. The APOC did get the interrupt onto the Mosh, but again, Imperious
Kill,
just not able to do
also a turn-in, which is probably the even bigger part of that. And because Sylph Trade is still up, you can just use it on the keep here.
Yeah, and
that's
here it
way more
goes.
valuable than what I was suggesting before.
You know, the analysts on Nexus Edge this week did point out ReGen was looking very strong at the end of the season last season. They did make some adjustments. I think Fox was one of their additions to the team this season, and they are looking absolutely fantastic right now. And there goes Fox pulling in, but Diablo charges in and makes Fox pay for that Warden's Cage. And
Fox pays, but it looks
down.
like Rainer's going to pay too. All the Panda Pals are jumping on him. They're not quite able to do it, but as it turns out, hero kills are not what wins you this game. It is core health, and it is dropping fast for the side of Running with Turtles. And that is going to be the 2-0 victory for ReGen Blue.
Pretty impressive, the aggression, the plays, using their combos even just to get one kill, because ultimately that one kill led for them to put even more pressure out, get the structure damage, and ultimately get the core. So really well done on behalf of ReGen Blue to make that happen. Again, a low scoring game, but this was a little bit shorter in time as well.
I gotta say, I think Alizar's probably going to be kicking themselves just for the number of times that they got caught out in the late game. It felt like ReGen Blue was constantly up a player, just able to be aggressive out on the map with their man advantage.
For sure. So let's see. Let's go hop into. We'll have to end our video call to go jump into the other chat.
I will miss seeing your face, Arrow.
Oh. I mean, you can still see it on the stream in a moment.
That's true.
I'm so glad that I have the chat blocked for that line, Mongoose, when you come back to this in a minute.
Hop over into lobby 1.
Let's do it. All right.
And I
so
assume
Ektar's
that
with me.
Mongoose is going to be the one coming in here.
You know, I assume that as well. I guess we'll find out in a moment. The suspense is killing me. It is, in fact, Mongoose with a hat. Welcome, Mongoose. How are you feeling tonight?
Well, you can't see me, but I have 2 hands held up high because we're feeling pretty good.
So, like a 10?
Pretty close. Yeah, pretty close. Starting
Or
off
like you're
2-0,
surrendering at gunpoint.
a little column A, little column B.
Well, fantastic job tonight. You guys really picked it up. You know, it was, you guys talked about it on Nexus Edge this week. Congratulations 2-0 on your victory here. But, you know, there was a lot of conversation in Nexus Edge about ReGen Blue being a standout team for this season. And I got to say that the team that we saw tonight really stood out. You guys played fantastically.
I appreciate that, Arrow, and I hope nobody pays attention to anything anybody is saying about us on Nexus Edge. No one pay any attention to us all at all. Scouting is not necessary. Just keep on. We're just there. We're. Nobody needs to pay attention to us. No, but I'm happy with how we played, obviously, and it's always nice to hear nice things. So we're cautiously optimistic about this season. It's still a little early to, get too high on anything.
Speaking of cautiously optimistic, I want to point out that Jason left me a solemn responsibility to keep this stream PG tonight because his nephew is watching, and
He is.
And somebody dropped an F-bomb in chat, which thankfully my overlay blocked. Just throwing that out there. So I
kind of wish I had known about that.
So, yeah, so fantastic job. So when you guys came into this, so obviously the bans from both teams were pretty much the same at the beginning. Have you guys played against Running with Turtles? Do you know this team much at all, or was this kind of just a standard, hey, we don't want to deal with those heroes?
No. Well, both. We haven't played Running with Turtles, but you know, they're an established team. They're a veteran team. It's a quality win. They've played in, you know, Slash and Heroes Lounge, so there's information out there. And you know, Heroes Profile Hot Slogs, if you want to spend the time to do the homework, you know, that information is out there. So those were both of those things. We don't like playing against Kel'Thas. We don't like playing against Anna. They have a really good Kel'Thas player and they have a really good Anna player. So it was kind of an easy call to make. And even though game one was pretty nerve-wracking, we didn't see anything that would make us want to get off of those bans in game one. So.
And so with the Cursed Hollow pick and the Tomb of the Spider Queen pick, was there anything unique about those maps? Like, obviously we saw that Samuro pick and then followed up by the Maiev in game two. Was there anything specifically when you were going into that you were really wanting to make sure that you showcased?
No. You know, we had a little bit of a roster shakeup, added Fox, so he gives our draft just a range of options we haven't had available to us in the past. So it's really, I think, a learning experience for us into how to manipulate the drafts to take advantage of that. And honestly, I thought we did a better job of that in game two than game one. But so there wasn't really anything in particular that we were looking for. It was more seeing how the draft was going and leveraging what we now have a pretty wide hero pool available to us. So finding those picks that we now have available that weren't there before to get the draft we want based on what the other team picked. So it's almost not so much on the map, but responding correctly to what the other team is doing.
For sure. And I have one other question for you, then I'm going to throw it over to my good buddy Ektar in the chat here. So Ektar brought up a question about the potential for stage dive in game one. So what are your thoughts on stage dive in general? Because I don't know that I've ever seen you pick it. I don't think I have taken it myself. So what are your thoughts on stage dive?
I will very, very rarely take stage dive. And when I do, it's not because there's too many mosh interrupts. I'll take mosh pit and do 12 interrupts if I need to. It's because there is a specific need for some presence somewhere else on... It's almost basically because we messed up in draft, frankly. It's, okay, well, they have 3 globals, we have none. We need to have some kind of response to it. And in that case, maybe I'll take stage dive. Actually, funny story, back in our chair league days, we had a game where I ended the game by stage diving onto core because I was dead when they tried to make the core call and the whole team died but left the core at like 2%. And so the game ended with me stage diving on core. It's probably the only time I've ever taken stage dive in a playoff game.
I think I remember seeing that, actually.
Yeah. So the answer is almost never. Almost never.
Yeah. Ektar, what questions do you have for Mongoose and ReGen Blue?
So, myself and a lot of the members in chat definitely feel like in that first game, Fox kind of put the team on his back. There were a lot of times where it looked like Running with Turtles was winning a team fight if you paid attention to the front line, but then in the back line, there's a half health Jaina, there's a third of a health Raynor, and he was just doing a lot of work. Is that the role that he tends to play in your team, is those high impact, high skill cap heroes?
Yes, and I agree with you. I think the exact words that Jason said sometime after we had that kind of 4v5 skirmish over the boss where we split and he was just harassing him endlessly. I think the exact words out of Jay's mouth were, you know what, we've lost this game already if Fox isn't carrying us. So he played fantastic. And, you know, with a Samuro specifically, it's almost 2 team fights because what Samuro is going to do is he puts himself out there on an island and he can't really rely on us to help him and we can't really rely on him to help us directly. So, you know, there's kind of 2 different things going on, you know, a fight on 2 fronts, and he's good at it. And it's, we really like that dynamic that we're able to leverage now. So it's, but yeah, he does play those heroes. You saw the Maiev in game 2 is that same kind of thing, that high impact, high ceiling, kind of power pick. That's what he does for us.
Already. And I think anyone watching the 2 games doing a side-by-side kind of comparison, they're very different games, not in necessarily how your team played, but in how you executed. For instance, during game 1, there were a lot of back and forth fights. There was a couple of map picks, but really, I would say Running with Turtles was giving as good as they were getting in most, if not all, of those team fights. But game 2 was not like that at all. How do you think your team managed to turn that around to make it such a decisive game 2 victory?
And the draft picks, there was that was in draft. The last pick Maev gave us something I don't think that they had a lot of ability to handle. We got a lot of rotation control in the early game of game 2. You know, we basically just cut them off from top to mid. And they, especially Diablo, you know, so super tanky late game, but early you can kind of farm him a little bit. So
and you did.
Yeah, and I think that caught them off guard a little bit. And game 1 was totally different. We didn't win the draft by any stretch. It was an even draft, if at minimum. And they, you know, we knew they played Deckard, and we weren't terribly concerned about it. And frankly, maybe we should have been, because they executed that kind of setup with the Deckard into the Thrall into the tongue. As good as I've seen it where we play, to be honest. They really put it to us a couple of times. It was pretty impressive. And the Thrall with the bolt over the wall, they definitely made some plays. So I'm happy that we were able to get kind of a little draft pick steal there to leverage the advantage on us, because frankly, I think game 1 showed that when the draft is even, the teams were pretty even. That's about as good as it's going to get competition-wise. So I think that was a little bit of a draft win for us.
All right, I think that's all that I have.
Yeah, I did want to point out too, and you mentioned the combo in game 2. We mentioned it a couple times in draft. The Anduin Chastise was absolutely on point. Like if Jason doesn't hit every single one of those, Diablo walks away free. But he hit every single one of those, and Diablo just melted. So that was fantastic play out of you guys to make those combos work.
And not just that, the pull to save me from my own stupidity on the third tribute fight that kept the fight alive and allowed us to get first cursed. I told Jay that might have been play of the game like 8 minutes into the game. Was absolutely money.
If I remember right, you had 37 health.
It was really low.
Yeah,
it was 37.
Yeah. There were a couple of points where people were absolutely dead and managed to walk away with no health. Jaina tried to pull it off, but Fox finished that job.
Yeah.
So, well, hey, congratulations again, 2-0 victory. What a way to start off the season. I know Murda's out there. A lot of ReGen members were scoping things out. There were a lot of NGS casters and just general people from the community. So a lot of people got to check you guys out tonight on the first night of season 7. So you guys get the opportunity to kind of relax here for a bit. So whatever shout outs you would like to make, Nicholas has already gone to sleep, so you know we've taken care of that one for you. But anybody else you want to shout out, the floor is yours.
Yeah, absolutely. All the ReGen fam, we have a big fam this season, so we love those guys. You know, Murda and the guys. Special shout out to Rag in ReGen. Ragnarok had been Ragnaros, I should say, no, Ragnarok. Man, we had one where somebody played that in game and it was really confusing. Ragnarok of ReGen has been doing some coaching with Jay. It's been awesome. It's really helped a lot, and I appreciate taking the time for it. Our buddies on Nobo Esprouts, Virtuoso and Richard Gear in particular, those guys also coach us, and it's been great. They've been really helpful. Our super sub Steel, who I think is probably in the chat.
He was.
Yeah, he was. So it's hard to find awesome people who are willing to sub. So we love him, and shout out to him. And of course, thanks to you guys and the cast, and then should be a great NGS season 7.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to what you guys have to show the rest of the season, and of course the rest of the ReGen fam will be right behind you. Just gotta show this shirt again just to remind everybody. But thanks again for putting on a great show tonight, and I guess that's it for us, huh?
All right, thanks again, guys.
Yeah, buddy.
GG's.
All right, so Hector, I'm gonna leave it on the thing since we don't have the camera up anyway. I'll just keep it on the interview page. But For
That's fine. They don't want to
everybody
see
at
my face
home-
anyway.
Well, maybe your dog might walk by or something. I don't know.
That's fair. Totally valid.
2
my
to
dog.
0. No, that's my dog. I made the poor choice of. Oh my god, now the other one's coming. Okay, so we got to wrap this up. So 2-0, Regen overrunning with Turtles. We're going to finish tonight here. I'm Arrow. Ektar, anything you want to say to everybody out there in Chatland?
Make sure you stay hydrated.
That is a great thing to remind everybody. Make sure everybody that is part of NGS, check out the new website, read the blog. It's not that long. It'll tell you all the new really cool features and benefits that you can get out of the blog, like assistant captains, or out of the website rather, that allow you to do scheduling and reporting and all that stuff, and delegate that. Let somebody else do it. Check in with your mods, like if you've got subs and all that stuff. Oh my god. Anyways, that's it for us. Have a great night, and we'll see you guys Thursday. If you come back to this channel, we've got another Regen team, Anomaly, going to be playing against, I believe, Die for Vision, and Almost Legends Ruby against Murky Slayers, Church of Murky. Anyways, one of the Murky teams on Thursday, so come back for that doubleheader, and we'll see everybody else in NGS chat.
And we'll see you in the Nexus.